There is a particular kind of tension that exists inside a Formula One team when two of its own drivers are genuinely, uncomfortably fast. Not the manufactured tension of press conferences, but the real kind. The kind that plays out in telemetry rooms and debrief sessions, where everyone knows exactly what happened and nobody quite wants to say it first. That is exactly where Mercedes finds itself heading into the Monaco Grand Prix. And the conversation they are having right now, publicly, transparently, and with a remarkable degree of maturity from both drivers, tells us a great deal, not just about this team in 2026, but about where this championship is actually headed. Let us start in Montreal, because you cannot understand Monaco without understanding Canada. The Canadian weekend gave us two separate battles between George Russell and Kimi Antonelli, one in the sprint, one in the Grand Prix, and both of them made contact. Minor contact, yes, but in Formula One, when teammates touch each other's cars, even lightly, it sends shockwaves through a team's management structure and through the public narrative surrounding that partnership. Russell won the sprint battle. He was aggressive, precise, and came out on top. But the Grand Prix told a different story. Their battle lasted 30 laps before Russell's power unit failed entirely. And in that moment, two things happened simultaneously. First, Antonelli went on to win, his fourth consecutive Grand Prix victory, 4 in a row, as a teenager. That is not a hot streak. That is a pattern of dominance. Second, Russell's retirement extended his championship deficit to 43 points. A gap that tells you this title fight is developing a very specific shape. One where Antonelli is accumulating and Russell is recovering. Mercedes answered the management question this week, and the way they answered it is worth examining carefully. Rather than imposing a hierarchy, they held detailed debrief sessions reviewing, in Antonelli's words, all the episodes of the race. Every incident, every decision. And then, rather than creating rules, they arrived at a philosophy. You can race each other freely, as long as there is respect, as long as you do not put yourself in situations that could damage one of you or both. What Mercedes has essentially done is refuse to formalize the hierarchy that the championship standings would naturally suggest. Antonelli leads by 43 points. In many team structures, that would trigger at least a quiet understanding that the trailing driver operates with caution around the championship leader. Mercedes has explicitly chosen not to do that. Russell confirmed it directly. He said they are trusted, that no restrictions have been imposed, and that both drivers know the boundaries of one another. That phrase matters. Knowing boundaries is not the same as having rules. It is an internalized understanding built through competition rather than a top-down directive. Antonelli framed it with equal clarity. He said the team does not want rules, but that both drivers carry an awareness of what a collision costs. The 2,000 people working in Brackley and Brixworth. At 19 years old, balancing competitive instinct with institutional loyalty is either deeply genuine or impressively learned, possibly both. Russell said the championship was Antonelli's to lose immediately after Canada, then walked that back on Thursday in Monaco, saying it's anybody's to win still. Both statements can be simultaneously true, and the distinction tells you about the emotional arc Russell is managing. After a retirement, emotion dominates. He had done everything correctly. He said himself he ticked every box in Canada and received 0 points and a battery so severely damaged it had to be sea-freighted home rather than flown. That is not just a mechanical failure. That is a logistical consequence serious enough to delay the analysis of what actually went wrong. But after emotion settles, mathematics takes over. Russell referenced Norris breaking down in Zandvoort, being disqualified in Las Vegas. He referenced Verstappen's tyre blowout in Azerbaijan in 2021. The argument is historical. Championship winners almost always absorb catastrophic bad luck somewhere in the season, and his may have already arrived. Antonelli's response was philosophically elegant. He said, "It's difficult to think about losing something when you don't even have it." That is not deflection. That is a genuine cognitive framework for managing pressure, refusing to internalize the weight of a lead that has not yet converted into a title. Russell was analytically candid about this. A significant portion of Mercedes' 2026 advantage has come from their power unit. On circuits with long straights, that advantage is tangible. Monaco has almost no straights. It is defined entirely by slow and medium-speed corners, where mechanical grip and aerodynamic efficiency at low speed matter far more than raw power delivery. And in those conditions, Russell openly admitted, Ferrari are the logical favourites. Monaco sits at a genuinely fascinating crossroads. Two Mercedes drivers given philosophical rather than regulatory freedom to race each other. A championship leader who is 19 and psychologically refusing to feel the weight of his lead. A championship challenger who has absorbed bad luck, done the historical analysis, and arrived convinced the season remains entirely open. And Ferrari waiting, potentially about to demonstrate exactly what happens when circuit characteristics shift away from Mercedes' primary strength. Mercedes have chosen trust over rules when managing their two drivers. But is free racing with respect a sustainable philosophy for a team chasing both championships simultaneously? Or is it an idealistic framework that breaks down the moment the title fight enters its critical final phase, and the points gap forces one driver to make a decision the other simply cannot accept? Where do you stand? Let me know below.